But instead of healing the wounds of war, it would sow the seeds for an even greater conflict just 2 decades later. The treaty was primarily driven by the Allied powers, especially France, Britain, and the United States. Each came to the negotiating table with different goals. France, having suffered immensely on its own soil, wanted security and revenge. Britain wanted to preserve its empire and maintain a balance of power. The United States, under President Woodrow Wilson, wanted a more idealistic peace centered around his 14 points and the idea of a League of Nations to prevent future wars. But in the end, compromise gave way to punishment, and Germany was made the scapegoat. One of the most controversial aspects of the treaty was the war guilt clause, Article 231, which placed sole responsibility for the war on Germany and its allies. This wasn't just symbolic. It became the legal basis for demanding that Germany pay massive reparations to the Allied countries. The figure was later set at 132 billion gold marks, an astronomical amount for a nation already economically shattered by war. These reparations destabilized Germany's economy, leading to massive inflation, unemployment, and widespread poverty. By the early 1920s, German currency had lost so much value that people were literally carrying wheelbarrows of cash to buy a loaf of bread. Savings were wiped out overnight. In addition to the economic burden, the treaty also imposed severe territorial losses. Germany lost about 13% of its territory and 10% of its population. Alsace-Lorraine was returned to France. The Saar Basin was placed under League of Nations control. The Polish corridor split Germany in two, creating a path to the sea for the new state of Poland, but severing East Prussia from the rest of the country. Overseas colonies in Africa and the Pacific were taken and distributed among the Allies under the guise of League of Nations mandates. Militarily, the treaty was humiliating. Germany was forbidden from having an air force, submarines, or tanks. Its army was reduced to just 100,000 troops, barely enough to maintain internal order, let alone defend its borders. The navy was limited, and the production of weapons and war materials was tightly restricted. The Rhineland, a critical region bordering France and Belgium, had to be completely demilitarized. German troops were not even allowed to step foot in it. All of this left the German people feeling humiliated, betrayed, and furious. They didn't believe they had lost the war in the field. Many clung to the myth that Germany had been stabbed in the back by internal enemies like socialists and Jews. The harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles became a rallying cry for nationalists, extremists, and right-wing populists.